That's how you know there's no grease left. Good afternoon, welcome back to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are working on my little brother's Ford F150. This is a 2004 4x4, and we are doing the lower ball joints, the upper ball joints, which is pretty much the control arm, as well as the sway bar end links. If you want to see how that's done, stick around. Disclaimer, I'm not a mechanic, I have no idea what I'm doing. My pretty much go-to method is see a bolt that's in the way, remove the bolt, and eventually we get the right part taken care of. So stay tuned, check it out. Don't copy me unless you're willing to end up with catastrophic results and your truck blowing up eventually down the road. So nothing else to say, so let's get to it. Huh.
I just thought those were taller.
That's pretty cool. So this is highly sophisticated, highly recommended. Always use the sketchiest wood you can find in your backyard to support your jack stand. You do not want to use good quality equipment or good quality spacers because that would be safe, okay? We're going to do it this way because this would be a very boring job if we knew we were safe and this wasn't going to collapse. And I mean, boring is boring. So we're going to use this. Highly recommend. Get the cheapest wood you can find. Make sure it's pre-split. Because if it's pre-split, you know you're safer because, well, they've already split, so you don't have to wonder if it's going to split. You just already know it's split. So, yeah, let's do that. This doesn't. Whoa, whoa, that goes fast. All right. Just for fun, I'm keeping a little bit of pressure with the jack so that the jack stand's not by itself. This is just like a double dangerous safety. With both pieces of equipment being super safe, I feel like we better have a backup unsafe option. So we've got the unsafe jack stand with the unsafe jack. That way we know we're good. So, all right, moving on. We have 19mm lug nuts. Put your lug nuts where you'll lose them. Grab tire. Lift with your back, not your knees. Now you have a nice little seat for your seat. All right, so first thing I notice on this truck is your CV axle is gonna have to come out. So I'm guessing that's a 13mm right here. 13 mil, I am right. So if this ends up spinning and you can't break that loose, grab yourself a pry bar or something. You can put it between your studs like that while you crank, or a 2x4, and you can get a long enough one that it sits on the ground, and then you can break it loose. This one came off pretty easy though. All right, we're gonna put that in the same pile of other stuff we're gonna lose. The problem is, if we do take everything apart, we have to put it all back together. All right, so if we're just gonna take everything apart, let's get the tie rod next. There we go. Whew. Put that in the trash pile. We'll go buy another one later. All right, so this is a 21mm for us. It might be different for you. It depends on if somebody's replaced it before, which most likely they have at this point. Okay, that was barely on, so that's easy. This is where you need the pickle fork because we're not replacing this. And we might be going to get the pickle fork sooner rather than later. We'll grab our big yellow 3-pound hammer. There it goes. Got lucky. You don't want to hammer dead on the threads. Even if you're getting rid of this tie rod, don't hammer on the threads because with your luck, the hammer wouldn't work and then you'll need your truck to go buy a pickle fork and you won't be able to get your nut back on. So just be gentle how you do that. We replaced these once a while back. Check out that video. Just go to the F150 playlist. All right, so tie rod is loose. Next we are going to tackle the CV is already loose. So let's go ahead and unbolt this lower ball joint. This is our same, not 21mm socket. It's a 22. Okay. Yeah. Use your big 3-pound hammer. Boom. Dang, we might get lucky all day. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and pick up the knuckle with a second jack, just to relieve the pressure off of the nut down here and this one. We may end up raising and lowering this a few times over the course of the next few minutes, but for now. All right, we're not picking it up very far, just far enough to relieve the pressure, so that'll do. Now we're gonna go ahead and break this bolt off up here from the upper ball joint. We're not breaking it off, I should rephrase that. We're just going to loosen it. Hold on to your ratchet real good so you don't fall. Okay, at the end of the threads, now we're gonna go ahead and take your brake caliper off, which we probably honestly should have already. So you got your upper caliper mounting bolt. If we can. Trying to make it easier for you to see.
I have no idea what I'm seeing.
Alright.
Being under there.
We'll break that one loose. It'll go down. There we go. Okay, so now we can slide that off of the caliper. Set it up here for mostly unsafe keeping. Now our rotor's free to come off. All right, so to hang your caliper, we're replacing this upper control arm too, so we're not, what's up? So it will be if it rolls. Oh. So because we're typically I would hang my caliper here, but because we're removing this to replace it, I'm just gonna find some other random spot like right here to hang this, so we're gonna go right there. All right, so at this point, we are almost free on the lower ball joint. We're almost free up here. We gotta knock this loose. We're going to want to remove the speed sensor. So we don't have a weird pentagon type tool to take this thingy off. No, it's not an Allen head. This is random. So we are going to unplug this, which is held in by this random zip tie that never got cut here. So we're gonna pull this zip tie out. This looks like it was custom made for that application. We should be able to pull, I think it's this one. Yes, it's this one. And we're gonna go ahead and unplug it. Oh goody, it actually unplugged too. Okay, and then this little bad boy right here should just be your vacuum hose. So we're gonna pop that out, get that out of the way. And now this knuckle should be free to be removed and get completely out of our way so we can do our upper control arms, our sway bar end links, and our lower ball joint. That way we don't have to mess with it, it's just out of the way. So, but we gotta free this up here first. So again, whoa, again with the big hammer. Right there, beautiful. If that doesn't work, you have to grab a pickle fork and pickle it off. But we're getting lucky today, so. That's what you eat pickles with. So now, I'm just going to relieve some of the weight off of the knuckle, right about there. Let's go ahead and take this castle nut off, so this will fall down when we're ready. Come up here, find the right socket for this for the 4th time. Okay, just be ready for this whole thing to fall. Okay, now we're going to let this go down in as controlled a manner without losing your fingers as you can. Oh yeah, but that'd be smart. Okay, gotta wiggle your CV joint out. And here we go. Knuckles removed. So I will say Ford makes a really easy knuckle to remove. Not all of them are that easy, but Ford F150s, every one I've removed has been fairly easy. All right, so at this point you've got some options. You got to replace your lower ball joint, our control arm, and the sway bar end link. I think we're going to go ahead and start with the lower ball joint because it's the most accessible. Just get that done and out of the way. Then maybe we'll do the uppers. We're going to have to remove your shock tower, I think. Maybe not, we might get lucky because we have the lift kit. And then we'll do these last because nobody cares about their sway bar end links. So let's go eat donuts. All right, so to get this ball joint out, shouldn't be too hard. What I am going to do though is get the CV axle out of my way, just so I don't have to keep playing with it. I'm just going to slap it up here to the coilover. And with any luck, these zip ties are not completely dry rotted and it'll stay. If I got bad luck, it's going to come crashing down on my fingers when I least expect it. That gives us a little working room. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this little grease zerk. Oh, this is just to get it out of the way. Then we need our snap ring pliers. This is a pretty good set of snap ring pliers. It's a Channel Lock brand. I highly recommend this pair because they're just awesome. I will link them in the description below. You're just going to go in there, squeeze your handles together, take them back out, flip the setting over so that you can do it right. And then you're going to watch your eyes because those can go flying. Next part's the fun part. That's setting up your system to bust this out. This you can rent for free typically at your auto parts stores. If you're going to do this job more than once, I highly recommend just buying a kit. This kit has saved me so much money over the years, it's ridiculous. So something to note, it looks like this ball joint has to go down, so we want to press it down, which means we're going to be something like so. So we don't need anything on this side except for the plunger. On this side we need to get a cup that's going to fit. And that's the hardest part of the whole job usually, is finding the right cup. Because if you're like me, they just don't make them small enough. It's a joke. There we go. That cup's going to work right there. I've never not been able to do a ball joint job with this kit, and I've done a lot of jobs with them. So highly, highly recommend you buy it. Plus, if you use my link, I make money off you. Alright, you're going to want this as centered as you can with your CV joint in the way, CV axle. You want to make sure all this stuff is centered, because if it's not, your day will be just a little bit worse than it was before. Make sure your stud is lined up with this hole down here so it just floats right down. So I have an impact that I really like to use with this kit, but for the video purposes, if you're already spending money on the ball joint press, you don't have to spend money on a drill. You can use a 22mm socket and a ratchet, and this job will go just fine. So that's what I'm going to do, just for demonstration purposes. Ooh, she comes right out. A little elbow grease. And if you get stuck, just make sure your stud is going through the hole. That's all you got to do. Just like that. So now you have your old bolt, you have your old ball joint uninstalled. That's how you know there's no grease left. So now we got to put the new one in. So we need your ball joint. All right, so we are using the Moog branded ball joints. So to get this back in, same thing. Just going to slide right in the hole. It's going to go in just like that. So you do want to make sure this is as centered as you can get it, because you do not want to twist your ball joint on the way up. All right, we're going to grab our same extendable ratchet, which I will link down below, and you're just going to start moving it up. All right, so that feels bottomed out. So you got to make sure that this groove right here is above, because you gotta get the snap ring in there. If it's not above, then the snap ring ain't gonna go in. Because I got a cameraman without safety glasses, I'm gonna keep my thumb on this just in case that happens. These things can fly with a lot of force. Okay, just gotta make sure it gets set into place. There it goes, right there. Now it's in place. You can tell these ears are pretty much right next to each other. If it's spaced way out and it just doesn't look normal, then it's not in the right spot. We're gonna get rid of this grease zerk cap. No idea how to do that. There it goes. All right, so this again, you wanna make sure you thread on straight, because these threads are super weak and you can cross thread them pretty easy. You do not want this facing your tire or here because you want to be able to get your grease gun on it later. So if it looks like you're about to bottom out and you find a good spot to stay, go for it. Yep, okay. Boop, right there. Moving on, let's do your sway bar end links next because they're right here. So sway bar end links, we're just gonna grab this one right here. Ugh. Pop it. So this one is an 18 millimeter for us. Might be different on yours. The bottom one likes to spin. Yep. That's a bummer. Okay. Oh no, we might need a pickle fork. All right, well, we might come back to this later because we're definitely, it's too flexible, so we're gonna need something. All right, let's do that later. Let's move on up here. Let's see how tight these are in here. Yeah, it's not too bad, okay.
Spinning or loosening?
It's loosening. The nut's not spinning yet. Okay, there's one. Yeah, it'll fit. Cool. I gotta do the other half. What? What'd you say? This side's tight. The other side wasn't.
One bolt holding it all on. That's all we need.
That's right. We're winning. We're winning. All right, so at this point, because we have a lift kit, we don't need to remove the shock tower. If you don't, you're probably gonna have to undo these, well, technically these 1, 2, and 3 bolts. Just pull those out so you can drop your coil over. Oh no, I thought we were gonna get lucky. Oh yeah, we're getting lucky, good. Haha, ours can fit. This side's a little bit weird because you got the bolt here. I don't understand why, but that's what they did, so. Okay, and now, you can pull that right out. And I forgot to bring my grease, so we're actually using some grease in the tube, and we're just gonna put some grease inside these bushings. Supposed to or not, don't know, but I like grease, and grease has always been good to me. So we're just gonna put a dollop on each side. It'll melt when it gets heated up from the friction, and then it'll disperse itself. This is gonna go back in place, right where the other one came out of. Slide it in, make a big old grease mess. Oh, and I know you can't see that on camera, and you're not going to either, but you're just gonna take your bolt, do your best to slide her in somehow. Here, you're gonna get your nut on, and that's about as far as I go with my finger. So now I'll get the other side in. I'll grab the nut for this side, stick it on. So when you tighten this up, I got a bunch of nasty Graham comments last time I did a control arm because I just tightened it where it laid. And so we're going to tighten this one right about here for ride height so that you guys can all stay happy and sleep at night, not worrying about how I tighten these 2 bolts. So we're going to do that real quick. All right, so to get the sway bar link off, we pulled this bottom one off. The top portion broke out. The ball actually broke out of the knuckle. We're gonna use a little insert here, put it over the ball, and we're gonna try and use the ball joint press. I've said this 1,000 times. This press has saved me so much money and heartache and various problems and issues that I highly, highly, highly recommend buying one if you don't have one already. All right, so no guarantee it's gonna work, but we're gonna hope it's gonna work. There she goes. Your new ball joint or sway bar end link should be better. I actually like the way these are designed. The boots are not in your way, and it just looks nicer. Plus, this one, you have the ability to hold the ball joint from above the control arm if it starts spinning rather than below, because below sucks. So we're just going to clean that out, make sure it's decent. You're going to slide your lower one down in and figure out how the heck you're going to get this in. Right there. Aim her in, just like so. You can use your impact for this if you want. I don't really like using the impact. You use the impact putting things back together, you kind of lose control over how tight things get. There she goes. Because you gotta get everything to line up in its holes at the same time. Without doing all that. Or I can just struggle, because that's more fun. And everybody on YouTube can tell me how to make it easier.
Exactly what the guy did on that.
I was going to use the jack. Okay, so that's the bottom one. This one's in there. Okay, so now we'll use the jack. Almost. Now, just want to get this on a few threads so we know it's good to go. Now we can tighten this one all the way up. Put this one in. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this in. Whoa. Hello. How you doing? Alright. Oh, come on. Just work with me. There it goes. It finally worked with me. I should have asked it earlier. Funny how that works, ain't it? Alright guys, that's all there is to it. We've just replaced the lower ball joint, the sway bar end links, and the upper control arms on this 2004 Ford F150. We're taking it for a little test drive right now. I actually just did the intro too on the test drive after, but whatever. Got my little brother here. Everything seemed good so far?
So far, so good.
So we did not break anything, as far as you know on camera. So anywho, thanks for watching. Check out, I'll link all the parts down in the video description below, as well as my PayPal info and my Zelle info. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time.